Talking about the eclipses. Um, so the Lord said that the sun and the moon, the greater light and the lesser light, were made for signs and for wonders, right? Like when you, like, words are just words, but actions are things, right? Like signs means something that you can see and you can read it, right? So you read a sign, right? But the only way to read a sign is if you know how to read signs. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't know how to read English and you come to a stop sign and you don't know it says stop on it, then how are you going to read the sign? Or even notice it's a sign at all? So there's that, and then there's wonders, right? So, like, think of, well, what's a wonder? Well, they say that there's, like, you know, the 8 wonders of the world or whatever it is. And it's just like regular shit, right? Like the Niagara Falls, right? Is one of the wonders of the world. So it's like one of those things where it's like you wonder how it's made or how it's working, right? It's something that you ponder because it's hard to understand with a single human mind, right? So it not only that, it can mean something that is changed, something that is new, right? Like when you say, "Oh, this is wonderful," it's because you didn't have that thing before, and now that you have it, it has changed your whole circumstance, right? So I think that they were for signs, and now they're for wonders, right? Like, the way I see it is there is a pattern that happened, right? Not a lot of people are talking about this at all. The pattern is the blood moons and the eclipses, they come to January 11th, 2024, and then it mirrors itself and starts going backwards, right? So the first, the eclipse coming up is the first one in the negative side of time. You can look at it that way. That before we were in the positive side, and now we're in the negative side, right? Because it's a mirror image pattern of the moons and the sun. So the signs and wonders are mirrored now. So anything that was good before is going to be fucking bad now, right? Like, that's the way I see it. And this has been in, like, lots of movies. You know, like the one that sticks out for me, I made a video of it a long time ago. It's a short film in this bigger movie called VHS. It was either the second one or the third one. But in this short film, the guy creates this doorway to another parallel universe, right? And he turns it on for the first time, and the door opens, and he's looking at himself like a mirror, right? But it's an individual. It's not an actual mirror, right? So he interacts with the guy. He starts talking. They're talking back and forth, and he made this exact same machine on his side of his universe at the same time and turned it on at the same time, and that's how it opened, right? But on the other side, on the parallel universe, everything's evil, right? Like, there's blimps in the sky with giant neon upside down crosses on them, right? Indicating who is in charge there, right? Everybody has glowing eyes that glow from inside, like their brain illuminates and causes illumination out of the face. And male and female genitalia are monstrous. Yeah. And so it's like a completely different world, right? Like instead of normal entertainment on television, they sit there and they watch someone get slaughtered, right? And they have a bag of meat that's dripping blood in the middle of the floor in the living room as if it's like a centerpiece. So like this very obvious, the obvious change between the two in this short film is the one side of the mirror is completely evil. Like the Antichrist is king, right? And when I made the video pointing out this short film, I point out the fact that this is not a parallel universe that they're showing you. They're showing you a time machine into the future, right? Because it's a very short time period between 2017 when this started and 2024 April when it ends, right? Like it's a process. Like the image of the Baphomet goat devil, right? That thing shows you, it's pointing up at the one eclipse, and then with the other hand, it's pointing down at the other eclipse, right? And it's showing you everything, right? I mean, it shows you the rainbow over his abdomen, its abdomen. It has breasts like a woman. It has a phallic like a male, right? It has two snakes wrapped around the phallic, right? It has dragon scale inside the inside of the rainbow on its stomach, right? So it's showing you like all their objectives, right? And on its arm is written coagula, and on the other one salt, right? Which is short forms of the longer English words coagulate and dissolve, right? Which is what is happening to a lot of people on the inside, depending on what they got. You know what I'm talking about. That was the plan, and the 666, right? In between both eclipses, the 2017 one in August and the April one in 2024, that's 6 years, 6 months, 6 weeks, and 6 days exactly between them, right? It's the creation of the Antichrist, right? The creation of the man of 666, right? Like I couldn't have became me without the circumstances that happened between 2017 when I stared into that eclipse and everything that happened since, and the death of my mother, right? For me personally, becoming the third January 6th in my life, right? The day of my birth, the day of my father's birth, and the day my mother died, right? That's what 666 stands for. Like everybody thinks it's, it's a number of his name. Like that's not what it's. Yeah, it might say that. It's not what it means. It doesn't mean use gematria, in native tongues and translate it into other languages and turn it back into numbers, and that's what it is. It's like, no, it's not what it means. Just the numbers. The number is associated with this man, right? Like that number, the circumstances that come to that number determine who he is, makes him become who he becomes, right? It has nothing to do with the number, like calculating his name. Like if that's the way you want to look at it, then like my name is Fox, my secondary name. My birth name is Stephen Scott Isidore Roy, which is the one crowned with a thorn, right? The one crowned with a wreath of thorns. The king, right? But when I started having these psychic abilities and seeing really crazy stuff and everything, like I was told that I'm a fox, right? Like Jesus, I think it was Jesus, showed me in a dream. He was like, "You're a crazy fox," you know, like it's something that always stuck with me. You know, it's like that old saying, "Crazy like a fox," right? It's like that word "fox" equals 666. Like you can look at it that way. That's not, you know, and my teeth are becoming very animal-like. You know, my hair and everything, my bone structure. It's just my point is like the eclipses, right? Like as they start happening and the blood moons start happening now, it's like it's starting over again, right? Like if you look at it as a progression of things getting worse and worse and worse and worse as the blood moons and eclipses are happening, right? And now that we've passed the mirror point, it's things are going to get horrifically bad, like horrifying accidents and planned things that are going to kill a lot of people are going to start happening, right? Like plans are going to start rolling out. Like, you know, the time of the Baphomets run out, so they're going to start implementing other plans, which is like, you know, covering up the whole pouring out of the cups, right? That's what God's doing right now. He's pouring out the fucking cups. So all the governments of the world are banding together to cover up that. They can't have us knowing that God's real 100%, because then we would change the world. We would change everything if we knew it 100%, right? We'd be like throwing over governments completely. Like, screw all you snakes. Like, nah, humans are going to take over now. But, you know, it is what it is. It's not part of the story, so, you know, logically speaking things, like, whatever, that's not going to happen. It's what's going to happen is what's written down, right? All stories that man made are based off of the original man-made story, right? Which is history. It's just things we've recorded. I don't know. The eclipses, though, like I'm telling you, this one coming up, the first eclipse since the mirror is going to be bad. It's like Daniel says, I think it's going to be the crowning of either Osiris or Horus, one of the two, right? The spirit of that is going to get inside of the person, right? Like it's like the Bible says, Satan falls from heaven, right? Like he lands inside of a man, right? Like you know, Satan fighting Michael, and then Michael kicking his ass, and he falls to earth. That's the star Beetlejuice, the supernova that happened. That was the fight. It just happened like a couple of years ago, right? But, you know, you see things or you don't. It's whatever. You know, this life, it's like a movie, right? Like sometimes you gotta get up and go pee, right? You miss some of it. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's gonna get, like, in my mind, what I can see is blood, like just crazy. I don't know when it's gonna happen. Maybe it's gonna happen during the eclipse. I don't know. Maybe looking into the eclipse is gonna make it happen for me anyway. I don't know. Yeah, I know most of you are just gonna be like, well, don't look at it. Well, it's not that easy. Like, I mean, these things have been showing me and telling me to do it for a very long time. It seems like my whole life, really, now I think about it. And like the really crazy video of the cloud person, right? It's a cloud demon with the hat on, right? One of my very, like, way older videos, like 2 years ago it happened. There's like crazy Pharrell Williams looking demon in the sky staring at me. Anyway, in his left eye is the eclipse. If you look at it really close, it's an eclipse in his eye, like a perfect circle with just the top missing. You know, and I think that's what it's going to look like from my position, because I'm right on the outside of total line of totality, I'm just outside of it. So it's going to look like that to me. Like the top of it is going to be still closed, right? And it's like that's a sign that they've been showing, right? A lot of satanic imagery and stuff. It's like the eclipse that's like a U, right? Where the top's still together. It's just like a thin U eclipse. That's what I'm gonna see from my point of view here. So we got like less than a month left to the show starts. Now there's another thing that this situation reminds me of. There's an old anime called Berserk, and in Berserk, this man he forms a band of thieves together, right? And this is back in like medieval times, and he just wants to gain respect, right? Gain loyalty of his brethren, right? And so he gets this vision, and in this vision he has this kingdom. So he goes on this quest to build this for himself, right? But then he gets caught, he gets captured, and he's tortured for years and years and years. So they cut all the tendons in his wrists and his ankles over and over again, and when it heals and scabs over and fully healed, they cut it again, and they pulled out all of his teeth and put an iron mask over his face, right? Like he's good as dead, but they keep him alive as best they can, right? Anyway, so his friends finally find him and break him out, but then they get stopped along the road, and their chariot or whatever crashes, right? And he gets thrown into this pile of mud, and he finds this necklace, and on the necklace is this bead of blood with a face on it, right? And as he finds this thing, it's like a relic or something, the eclipse happens in the sky, and the thing turns, looks at him, and opens its eyes, and then the whole world becomes hell. And the things that he's promised are then shown to him again by 4 devils, and they tell him that he's the king of hell, right? This situation reminds me of that quite a bit.